Arg! Ahoy there, matey! Welcome aboard the world of boating.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
I was just looking into buying a boat of my own.
Call World of Boating toll-free now at 1-8888-28-BOAT. That's 1-888-828-BOAT.
And welcome. This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate. Barry the Boater not with us today, but Mike the Mariner, believe it or not, is in the studio.
Yeah.
Here at World of Boating headquarters.
Yeah.
And so that has to amount for something.
Yeah. You know, the first time since the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, 3 years?
The statute limitations has finally expired?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Well,
or you just didn't want to be near me?
You had to let me in. So.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
I did.
So I'm surprised you did. But
No, you're always welcome. Barry's the one who's questionable.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
that red cap. No.
Yeah, exactly. We have there's a restraining order thing that we have to navigate with him sometimes.
Yeah, he's almost through that. I think just a couple more meetings with the judge, and I think he'll smooth it all over.
Well, maybe he'll pay off the proper, authorities, and eventually he'll be back. But yeah, it's me and Mike, and you brought your first mate, or is she the one in charge too?
She's the admiral. I'm the
She's
captain.
the admiral. Okay.
I'm El Capitan. She's
all right,
admiral.
and we may talk to her at some point once you. Say a few things, and she says, no, I'm going to overrule.
Yeah,
and then we'll let her jump in and correct you accordingly.
Yes.
But it is good to have you in the studio today. Now, I was a little worried because we talked during the week this week, and we were discussing last week you had a fireworks incident at your marina.
Yeah.
And this week you had a lightning strike.
Right. Yeah.
So you're on a roll.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, if you're trying to figure out how to not get struck by lightning, don't hang out with me. But
okay,
yeah.
Well, I mean, the odds of getting struck by lightning a little higher in Florida than other places in the country, but still, it's it's like getting struck by lightning's not very likely anywhere you are, but it does happen, and when it happens to you when you're out on a boat or a marina, it could be devastating. You don't want that. So I figured, hey, let's use your misfortune to educate our passengers a tad today. You think?
Absolutely.
What to do when lightning is in the area, how to protect your vessel from being struck. And then if you do get struck, what do you do?
Right.
Is there anything you can do to mitigate the damage?
Right.
So first off, let's just talk about what exactly happened this week with you.
Right, yeah. So 2 weeks apart. So February 4th, we had the lightning strike at the marina where the fireworks were going to go off. And, of course, that cooked off everything, right?
Right.
So,
well, that's what, the lightning strike triggered the fireworks last week, and we discussed that. Everybody was okay, but kind of ruined the fireworks display to a certain extent.
Oh, they canceled it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they went off. They just didn't go off as planned, right?
Yeah, they went off in a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
But so fast forward a week, so to this past week, and we had another lightning strike at the marina. We weren't there at the time. It struck our dock.
Yeah.
And several boats got affected. One of the boats had an air conditioning unit destroyed. 2 or 3 boats had various electrical systems affected, lighting.
Right.
A lot of lights were blown out and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up and checked the boat out after I got the phone call, and I thought I was in the clear until I figured out, well, my rear deck lighting system is acting strange, and I've got some lights out there, and the switches aren't working quite right.
Yeah.
And then I decided, well, I better check all my navigation stuff. And many listeners may remember that last year we got struck by lightning when we were underway.
Right.
And it took out a big chunk of my navigation system.
Mm-hmm. Cost
and
big money.
Autopilot and all that stuff.
That's not
well,
ideal.
guess what?
Really? Did you?
I powered everything up, and the CTalk system is out of service. So
which is what? What does that mean?
That's the communicator that it allows the autopilot to communicate to the GPS.
Yeah.
And it brings in other signals like your rudder position indicator and those things. They're data points.
So you want this to work?
You do want it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, even my depth sounders are gone. So
wow.
So
this is like the interface that talks to everything, like the communication hub.
Right.
kind of
That's
thing.
exactly right.
But so is that the only thing you think is was zapped by the lightning, or do you know for sure?
Don't know, because the thing about lightning strikes on boats or cars or anything really is it's like chasing a ghost or a gremlin. For a
it
long
is.
time. You're 2 or 3 months down the road, I'll turn something on and it won't work, and I'll
Right.
figure out that the microwave is fried. Or
Well,
whatever.
exactly. Well, we're here in Orlando, Florida, and our studio is here, and this is the lightning season.
Yeah.
We're smack dab in the middle of it
Oh yeah.
here in Central Florida, and I used to get whacked here at the studio all the time.
Mhm.
Probably once a year, we get hit, take out phone lines. I was
Mhm.
so frustrated, and now we have a serious ground and lightning rod and whole thing installed, and I haven't had any problems since.
Right.
So there are workarounds to keep you from, having this happen to you on a semi-regular basis.
yeah.
But in your case, it sounds like you guys didn't get a direct hit this time around, but it kind of traveled through whatever lines or metal or whatever, and several boats and vessels got whacked there at the marina. You think?
Yeah, we think it probably hit one of the power poles and then created a surge in the system.
Yeah.
And hit it didn't hit every boat on the dock.
Yeah, it never does.
When you get down past about 3/4 of the way down the dock, it seems like the boats further down did not get
Yeah.
affected. But I'm kind of in the central area of that particular dock, and
Right.
boats on both sides of me and behind
You were in
me.
the lightning wake
Yeah.
and got whacked a little bit. That
Yeah.
hub thing that you're talking about. So is that a major overhaul, or is it a thing you can just replace fairly easy? Or
Yeah,
You
I
don't
just
know
have to. I just have to confirm that is the problem.
Yeah.
Everything else powers up, so I feel pretty confident about the devices, the autopilot head unit, and my GPS. Everything powered up. It just didn't have any data from several, and they weren't talking to each other. So
right.
that points me towards the hub.
Okay, so hopefully you can get that resolved. And in my case here, the studio is all about a grounding rod.
Mhm.
I had to install a hardcore grounding situation. I did some searching online about boats and vessels.
Yeah.
You kind of got to think the same way. There's
Right.
ways to ground your vessel to the lowest point, or
Mhm.
something attached into the water. There's like a metal plate or something.
Yes.
So do you have that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a very robust they call it a bonding system.
Yeah.
And Silverton does a really good job with that, but Mother Nature does a better job of delivering
Right.
lightning than Silverton does of accepting it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and once again, it depends on where it's coming. Where it's coming from.
yeah,
I mean, if it traversed a bunch of boats, I mean, it obviously didn't come from the highest point on your vessel necessarily. Maybe it came through some power cord, or, I don't know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Anybody have any ideas how it might have traversed the boats that it whacked, or do you know?
the theory is that it hit one of the power poles on the dock and then traveled through the electrical system.
Yeah.
But based on the fact that my hub is acting up, there's a possibility that I also got struck at the antenna for my UHF,
Yeah.
because that's I think where we got struck last time.
Okay.
And-
And I mean, is there, like, before you get to all those electronics, do you got all that stuff set up on some kind of a lightning arrestor, or
No,
No.
it's grounded just like normal. Like
Yeah,
like
there's
you
not
would-
much you can
yeah,
do.
Not much you
You
can
know,
do at
if-
that point.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're plugged it to shore power, I mean, do you have
Mhm.
that? Is that one of the first lines of defense? You'd have it hooked up to some kind of surge protector, at least if something came through that system.
Well,
that
it's
you'd-
the breaker. Yeah. So
Yeah.
our boat's a 50 amp boat. So at the power pole there are two 30 amp breakers,
yeah.
and they were not tripped.
Hmm.
So
So who knows is what you're saying.
so who knows? Yeah.
It's the lightning gremlins. I
Right.
mean, that's the thing. It's tricky. It's Mother Nature. She's a sly one.
Yes.
That Mother Nature sometimes. All right. Well, we're going to talk about how these things could affect you, and how to prevent them, and what to do if, God forbid, you find yourself in Mike the Mariner's shoes. Next on the World of Boating.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network.
Traditional boat hooks are bulky, take up too much space, and sink. Switch to the Revolve Tech USA 3-in-1 boating tool, a marine tough compact system replacing your boat hook, stiff brush, and soft brush. The Revolve Tech USA 3-in-1 tool extends to 6 feet, then rolls up to just over 4 inches and floats. Upgrade to the Revolve Tech USA 3-in-1 tool for more utility, less gear, and zero compromises. Get 10% off with coupon code WORLD10 at smartboattool.com.
Hosting a radio show about scuba diving and boating is one of the best gigs on the planet. It's actually part of my job to check out and report on cool new products I personally use to enhance my diving and boating adventures. However, I do believe in sharing the joy, and this is why we've added Nanook protective hard cases to our list of products you can now purchase on the merchandise page at scubaradio.com. Nanook cases are designed to protect the most sensitive equipment in the harshest environments. Underwater photographers, listen up. From their high-impact NK7 resin to their exclusive Power Claw latches, Nanook has raised the bar for those of you that demand the best protection for your gear. Plus, Nanook protective cases cost less than similar products currently on the market. The company has been around for over 15 years, but it's new to the U.S., so we've made a small number of Nanook cases available exclusively for you at a special introductory price on the merchandise page at scubaradio.com. Go there now and check out Nanook, the evolution of protection.
Traffic sucks, unless you're scuba diving with Mike Scott.
Mike glanced down at his dive computer. It showed less than 50 psi left in his tank. Probably just a few more breaths.
Or riding shotgun in a thrilling car chase.
One bullet hit the Jeep's windshield, spiderwebbing the passenger side. Mike shifted into second gear and felt the Jeep leap forward. This just got serious.
Escape your commute with audiobooks from author Eric Douglas. Download to your phone. Go to booksbyeric.com or audible.com.
Successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the world of boating.
I do like the water.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
What is your problem? We had something. I felt it. I felt it on the bow, I felt it on the stern, then a few more times on the bow, then the stern again. Then you flipped me over onto my starboard side. I even tried aft for the first time. I'm on a boat.
This is the world of boating. Greg, your first mate, Mike the Mariner, in the studio this week with his Admiral, by the way. Yeah, and unmute your mic there, Mike. See, and there we go. His name is Mike, so he might have misunderstood me.
Unmiked me?
Yes. But I don't know. Maybe that's the Admiral's job. Do you concur, Admiral Colleen?
Sometimes.
Okay, sometimes. That's good enough. That's all that matters. At least we, a crew that agrees is a happy crew.
Yeah. And we make a great team because, we're not one of those couples that yells at each other when things are going crazy and, high docking and high winds and all that stuff.
Like the people that Barry the Boater was watching last 4th of July at the boat docks in South Florida. Yeah. Well, okay, good. That's the sign of a good relationship,
We try to keep it civil.
Yeah.
Keep it civil.
Boring is good when it comes to relationships sometimes in that regard. But when it comes to this lightning strike, now you got, the dock where you have your boat got whacked.
Right.
And you think it was through a pole, electric pole, and then it hit several of the boats.
Yeah.
You're not sure. It's hard to know for sure. But did when it struck, you weren't there at the marina.
Correct.
They just called you and said, "Hey, we had a lightning strike. You might want to come check things out." That's what happened.
Yeah. One of our boat neighbors, they actually had two boats sitting next to each other, and they both got hit.
Yeah.
And they're three slips down, and then the boat behind us lost an air conditioning unit and a couple of other things. So they were just surmising that the strike went that far down, so they called me too.
Gotcha. So did anybody, were they there when it happened? Anybody see it?
Yeah, there are several people that live in the marina on their boats, on their vessels, and so there were people on the dock when the lightning strike
occurred. But when you got over there, I mean, how do you figure out, like, okay, gosh, Wonder what happened. There's no visible signs
No,
when you get to the vessel.
I mean, sometimes there are. I mean, lightning strikes of various types can leave burn marks, and I
Right.
mean, depending on how it hits, whatever it hits, it can blow things up, right?
Well, of course, yeah.
So
But
that's
I would imagine the first place you look is at the breaker panel on your vessel, just to see if anything has been tripped or what.
well, if you know your boat's been struck, if you're on it and you take a strike, really the very first thing you should do if you have an engine room and not outboards is look in the engine room.
Yeah.
Because there have been instances where lightning has struck like a water line or the hoses going into a seacock or something like that, and then suddenly you've got water coming in your boat because when the lightning struck, it instantly boiled the water and blew the fitting.
Ooh,
So
that ain't good.
that's never
When
good.
you're on a boat and a hole develops because of a lightning strike, I'm guessing that's a big bad one right there.
That's a big
That's
bad
not
one.
ideal.
So
Nobody else at the marina had something like that, right?
no,
Okay.
nothing like that happened, but it has happened.
Yeah.
In the past.
All right. So look for holes or
Yeah.
leaks.
Well,
Go low.
yeah, and you have to track the weather, and sometimes you just have no choice. Like if you're on a river, you really can't deviate from the river. So if the storm's approaching, you just have to ride it out. But if you're out in the ocean, say off the Florida Keys or along the East Coast, and you can see the storms on your radar or visually, do what you can to avoid it. Go
Yeah.
around it. Go the other direction. Slow your speed and let it pass, or
Well, it's similar for airplanes.
Yeah.
We talk about this on Just Plane Radio quite a bit. And the key when it comes to flying your aircraft is you don't fly into the weather. You fly around it, try to
Yeah.
get out of it. Don't fly in the clouds if you don't absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have no choice, but you kind of have to know what you're getting yourself into in that regard.
Mhm.
But in a boat, I mean, they move a lot slower.
Yes.
So you don't have as much flexibility in that regard. So,
Right.
but the the weather's the weather, and if you're paying attention to it, it's like, okay, we know we're going to get some weather this afternoon.
Mhm.
Let's plan accordingly, kind of thing, or not
Yeah.
go out at all.
Well, it just you time it. You like anything, you look at the weather forecasts such that they are, and that they haven't been very accurate lately. But
Yeah. Well, it's that time of year.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that you should try to do if you can. Now, if you're in waters that are restricted, like a river that has a lot of bends in it, and you can't go any direction you want to, you can only go
This way or that way.
this way or
Up-
that way.
Upstream or downstream. Yeah.
And so you might not have a choice, but if you can, you want to turn off all the electronics that you don't need.
Yeah.
So typically in a storm, you're going to want radar. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
And there are some things you actually need. But what you can do is maybe pull into a cove and anchor and turn everything off so you're not attracting attention from
Yeah.
the clouds.
From the lightning gods. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of things to do. But what I was getting back to earlier is after a lightning strike, if you're on the boat, immediately check the critical systems. Power things down, power things back up. Check your engine room to make sure that there's nothing, smoldering or water intrusion.
Right.
Those types of things, and just make sure you get the good once over on the
Yeah.
boat. So
Yeah. And you like you said, it's kind of a process of elimination. You power up everything and see if it's working.
right.
If you're getting some kind of error code or on that hub, I mean, what made you direct yourself to that particular piece? What was there a screen on it or something that you like? Oh, this isn't powering up right, or what?
Well, I powered everything up,
Yeah.
and my autopilot said CTOC failure. That was the first clue. And
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is not good.
Right.
So then by that time, my navigation system had booted itself up and the maps loaded, and I had no rudder indicator. I had no depth sounder,
Yeah.
those types of things. And those all come through CTOC. So,
Gotcha.
and the GPS wasn't talking to the autopilot. So process of elimination.
Exactly. All right. Well, you got to do that, and then that CTOC, right? That was I mean, how much you figure one of these things are going to cost? You just kind of have to replace it, or you think it's fixable?
There's a couple of different devices that are part of that network.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super expensive.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not completely cooked,
Right.
and have to replace all the cabling and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's for tomorrow to find out. We're gonna go
Okay, or
disassemble the
next
helm
week.
station, and
When he gets the bill,
Yeah.
we'll cover it accordingly. But if you're out in the water, like you said, if you're on a river, you don't have many options to avoid, a storm. Like if you get caught in one, if God forbid, if you're in open water, I mean, and you get in a lightning storm. And some of these things we get in Florida, especially, are right off the coast. They are violent lightning storms.
Mhm.
They are crazy insane, and they may come through pretty quickly. But when they do, boy, they'll get your attention.
oh yeah,
And the one thing I've read, online about this is like if you were to get caught in a storm like that on a sailboat, motorboat, whatever the case may be, you're out on the water, is just make sure you are low
yes,
as possible yourself.
right.
Because, the equipment can be replaced. You, on the other hand, might be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, right.
So just get as low as you can and hunker down. And then we got a few more tips for you, too, we'll share next. Stay close.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network.
Traffic sucks unless you're scuba diving with Mike Scott.
Mike glanced down at his dive computer. It showed less than 50 psi left in his tank. Probably just a few more breaths.
Or riding shotgun in a thrilling car chase.
One bullet hit the Jeep's windshield, spiderwebbing the passenger side. Mike shifted into second gear and felt the Jeep leap forward. This just got serious.
Escape your commute with audiobooks from author Eric Douglas. Download to your phone. Go to booksbyeric.com or audible.com.
Do you have a message or product you need to share with the boating world? Well, look no further than the World of Boating radio show. Just like you, thousands of boating enthusiasts are hearing this message, and we could be talking about you and your product or service as early as next Saturday. Remember, a terrible thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Go to worldofboating.com, send us an email, and let's get to work to make your marketing message matter.
You have successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the World of Boating.
I do like the water.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
Yoo-hoo, Mr. Pirate!
What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor?
This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate, Mike the Mariner, in the studio with me today. Barry the Boater taking a break, filling in a major upgrade. The Admiral, Colleen, with us, which is part of Mike the Mariner's crew. Or maybe Mike the Mariner's part of her crew. If she's the Admiral, is that how it is?
That's how that works.
Okay.
That's more accurate.
All right, that makes total sense. So we're talking about lightning because we live in Florida. This is where we do the World of Boating from Orlando. Actually, just down the road from us, Lakeland, I believe, is the lightning capital of the world.
It is, yeah.
And we are in lightning season, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so much so that Mike the Mariner, he took a hit.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
Fried some gear. And so I figured this would be a good time to kind of address this because it can happen anywhere. You don't have to be in the lightning capital of the world to have this affect you, whether you're on a lake out west or off the coast of California, Florida, you name it. Lightning can pop up anywhere and become an issue for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you got struck. We talked about how you zeroed in on what things were affected and, process of elimination, powering all the electronics. Obviously, that's the first wave of problems that you're going to possibly encounter, just like you would on land when it fries, a phone system or, studio equipment,
Oh, how do you know about that?
Yeah, I am way too familiar with that. But there are solutions. Now, for me, here at the studio a few years ago, I literally every season I got whacked. And finally, I was like, this is ridiculous. I got to figure this out. So I had an electrician come in, and they installed some major lightning rod type systems to channel any kind of electrical current through the studio out and away from the gear. And I haven't had a problem since, so it's done its job.
Yeah.
You don't know it's working other than you don't get whacked.
Right.
Yeah. And I was constantly, actually, it was traveling through the phone lines most time back then. Now we don't even have to have hardwired lines. So that was one, I took that element off the list, but it can still come through power, whether it's shore power at a marina or whatever. That's a very common way to get like a secondary lightning strike or adjacent to a lightning strike that hits a power pole, like you think might have happened to you guys.
Yeah,
right?
and typically, if it comes in through the power pole or it comes in through your power cord from the power pole, that would typically affect the power panel first, and hopefully the breaker trips at the power pole, and hopefully
it would stop right there.
But it can still
Ideally.
get through.
It does sometimes, absolutely.
So then there's this. Then there's your power panel.
Yeah,
and that's your secondary set of protection. But typically, the things that get affected on a boat are actually the low voltage items, like UHF radios.
Yeah.
The antenna gear and the networking gear, which is really not tied to the grounding system.
Yeah, but they don't like surges. They don't like big power changes,
right,
and things like that, or brownouts or whatever. And electronics are very sensitive to that stuff. They're getting better and better, I'd say, but still, I mean, on a boat, especially if it's an older vessel, you're open to that potential problem for sure.
Yeah.
So you just got to watch it, narrow it down, or whittle it down to figure out which things were affected how, right? By powering them up, checking them out, and seeing if they work.
Right, and then they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately.
And so, you have to go through that. But, I mean, some of the things you try to do to avoid a lightning strike, say when you're underway and you really don't have a choice, you can't outrun the storm or you can't outmaneuver the storm because you're in confined waters. Power down everything you can power down.
Yeah.
Lower all the antennas that you can lower.
Right.
If you can.
Stay low in the boat yourself so you don't get struck.
Right. And if you have a cabin, send everybody to the cabin. Now, my particular boat has a fly bridge. So to maintain control of the vessel, you have to be on the fly bridge because it's not a trawler, it's a motor yacht. So I don't have a lower helm station.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get into the cabin and don't touch anything that's
metal
on metal or on the high voltage side. So like refrigerators and microwaves and anything else that is tied to the higher voltage part of the system, just don't get near it.
Now, you had mentioned you have that metal plate for grounding on your boat already, right?
It's a bonding system.
System, right? It's part of the thing. So obviously you want to have that up to speed. There are some devices that you can get for a boat that are actually supposedly work quite well. I don't know if you've seen these. I looked up a few online before we went on the air today. And there's some that have very good success. If you put one in there, not huge, but they are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking to like, for a 30, 40-foot boat, probably a minimum of $5,000, I think is what I saw. I mean, but if you have them installed properly, and I mean, it could save you a crap load of money.
Right.
And make things much, much more safe.
Right.
In that regard.
And the more grounding you have, obviously, the better. It's very similar to your situation with the studio, and when you put the grounding rods and to dissipate the electricity if you got struck here.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with a boat, and the bonding system is a network of braided cables that are connected to parts of the boat.
Right.
Kind of a spider web kind of thing.
Just kind of dissipate the lightning off into the water.
And it goes
so it doesn't hit your boat directly or go in through all the electronics. And even that device that I'm talking about, there's several of them out there, but that one that's pretty expensive works really well. It's great for your boat, to keep it from getting struck by lightning. However, it does nothing for your situation if you had an adjacent nearby strike and then it came through the power. It's not going to do anything for that.
Right.
You're screwed that way. So, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. And when I saw the price, like, golly, can't they make these things cheaper? And there's little like these flare things you can put on your antenna. You know what I'm talking about? It almost looks like a broom, a metal broom.
Yes. Yes.
And supposedly those can help a little bit, but
Mhm.
I don't know. That's kind of like the poor man's
It's kind of
way
a
to do
like
it.
a lightning diffuser.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, I read something about it. It's like they're great, but you know what you're doing, you're basically turning your boat into a lightning rod.
Yeah.
So now you're encouraging the lightning to come.
Well, mine's already a lightning rod, so
Well,
I mean,
evidently, yeah,
clearly.
yeah. You've had 2 strikes in less than a year,
In
right?
1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost exactly. You know what? It's almost exactly the same time because it was July 4th that we got struck last year.
Uh-huh.
And,
Well, there you go.
And I'm looking at my beautiful wife right now, and she's nodding. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know what to think of that other than you're extremely unlucky. And
Taking one for the team.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, there are some devices you can get, and that one that's more expensive. I mean, it does look pretty impressive,
Mhm.
but like I said,
I'll take 10.
starting at $5,000. And but then they said, well, we know this sounds kind of pricey, but think about it this way: one lightning strike takes out all your navionics, and you're screwed.
Right.
I mean, you're going to spend more than that easy.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all, I guess, perspective.
Yeah.
In that regard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you certainly want to protect the boat. There's certain things you can't protect it from. I mean, we
Yeah.
weren't even at the boat when it got struck last week, and everything was powered down
Yeah.
except the house power. So the air conditioning was on, and
Right.
none of that got affected.
Yeah.
So
But looking at it now, is there anything you could have put in between the shore power and your vessel? Is there a device or a lightning arrestor that you could possibly put in?
I've been trying to think about maybe a sarcophagus, like at the Chernobyl plant that they put.
Yeah.
Something. But
Right.
I don't think the marina's going to go for that.
Just like a Frankenstein monster to hold the 2 wires together and lights up when things get a little too. I'm going off track, but we're in Orlando with theme parks and stuff, and they got all that stuff. All right, more coming up. Stay close.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network. You have successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the World of Boating,
I do like the water.
the radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
Come on, Williams, what are you standing around for here? Get on board.
Get on board. Don't fret. Don't try to worry.
This is the World of Boating. Greg, First Mate, Mike the Mariner, and the Admiral, Colleen, his better half. Also, she's the one who really in charge. So, by the way, I just looked it up. Yeah, you can get a power, a surge protector for your shore power, and that might help. If you were getting, a current or a brownout or electrical surge from a lightning strike.
Yeah.
Do you have that on your shore power line or no?
On my shore power line, I have a couple of different pieces of protection. So we have a 50 amp boat, but we're tied to 230 amps. So we've got a reverse splitter, and it has a surge protector built into it.
Right.
And then we have the inverter on the boat, which is and then of course all the
redundancy. That's what you want.
Yeah.
But if you just wanted to get a shore power surge protector, they're pretty common.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. They start anywhere from like $100, $200 on Amazon, that kind of thing. But something like that might be easy enough to help keep things at bay, and different companies, or you can go more of that high end thing and just install this. This product starts like at $5,000, but supposedly has like 100% success rate.
Oh,
of making
okay. I'll
sure.
take 10 of them then.
Yeah. Well, he's loaded. Just ask the Admiral. Is it her credit card? Is that how that works, Mike?
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, you don't want to be that boater that gets struck by lightning for sure. And whether it's trying to figure out, like in your case, you weren't there when the lightning struck, and you had to go back and figure out what equipment was affected.
Yeah.
start in the bottom, make sure you don't have any leaks.
Right.
Thing blew a hole out of stuff. You were telling me like one of your friends got struck and it literally blew up something in the boat.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So a friend of mine's boat got struck, and when it hit the antenna, and this is the weird thing, you know, lightning can strike something and you'll see nothing but a tiny little pin burn mark.
Yeah.
Right. Or it will completely blow it up. And it took his UHF antenna and just vaporized it.
Wow.
So maybe there was moisture in it. So that's typically what happens. So like when lightning strikes something that has water in it, it instantly boils it and
expands and
the
blows.
pressure, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, like if you take a lightning strike at sea or anywhere, if you're on the boat, the first thing you need to check is the engine room, because if it struck your air conditioning unit, that's a water cooled air conditioning unit, so and your seacock's open because you have water circulating through the air conditioning unit. And so if it disconnects that or blows that apart, well, there you go. You've got water coming in like instantaneously. So,
right.
And if you're, if that happens and you can't find the source of the leak, then, beach your boat, turn towards the shore and
get back, get back to shore as quick as possible so you don't go down with it.
Get your maydays out, if you have water, coming in your boat, and,
right.
Make sure you have.
Well, now, I mean, the other thing with the lightning strike, that's obviously how a lot of boat fires can start too.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, it's a double whammy. First, you got to make sure nothing was damaged. Then you got to make sure nothing exploded and then caught other items of the vessel on fire. So you got a serious inspection to make.
Most of the
if you
time,
think you've been hit by something like that, right?
Yeah. Usually when an explosion occurs near me, I'm instantaneously aware of it. But I mean, well,
true.
But like on July 4th, when those fireworks cooked off, it looked like a bomb went off. But
well, it did kind of.
But I mean, and that's the other thing is things can get masked, and so if something does get damaged in the engine room and there is water intrusion, sometimes it's hard to see where it's coming from, because if you're in an area like we are where the water is dark because of the tannins in the water, then you can't see where the source of the leak is. So it's very important to have your wooden kegs and your towels and things that you can stuff into an area where water's coming in. Yeah. You need to have that where you can find it quickly.
Right. Now, obviously, you don't want to put yourself in this situation. Avoid the weather if you know there's some. I mean, this is the time of year in Florida where, I mean, it's almost every day. We could get a serious lightning storm in the afternoon. But if you're paying attention to the weather, like you said, there's ways to, try to minimize those encounters where you might find yourself in some pretty harsh conditions. But, sometimes it just happens. It's an act of God kind of thing. And in your case last year when it happened, were you covered completely on the insurance side of things in this regard, or did you kind of plan on this, knowing where we live, and I got to make sure this is in my policy for my boat and all this stuff, or what?
It's almost always going to be in a policy, and our policy does cover that. And it was not considered a moving accident. It was an act of God accident. So it was covered under comprehensive. So but that particular day is a good example where even if you're self-aware, so I look at the weather a lot. I mean, just ask Colleen.
You're a boater.
Oh, yes,
I'm
all
always
the time.
I'm always looking at that, and that particular day. And this is a kind of a unique thing that happens in Florida. A storm can develop right over your head, where it's sunny one minute and no clouds, and suddenly you're under a thunderstorm.
Looks like the world is ending.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a Sharknado.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to us. There was a storm on the north end of Lake Monroe and a storm on the south end, and they were a good 5, 6, 7 miles apart. The center was completely clear. I'm like, okay, we're good. So I throttle up. We come under the bridge and we're heading over towards the marina. And 5 minutes later, we were in a torrential downpour and got struck by lightning. I mean, it happened that fast.
Wrong place, wrong time.
It's very scary.
Yeah. Or, I mean, like I said, second time in 2 years, you're on a roll there, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's either lucky or unlucky.
We're gonna change the name. Are you coming to the to the ceremony. We're changing the name to Lightning Strike.
Oh,
from
really?
Silhouette, yeah.
Okay. Well, knowing your track record, I'm gonna say I'm gonna put a hard no on that.
Well, we can do it during the winter if you
Oh,
want.
okay. Yeah, as long as it's inside and away from any potential inclement weather. I'm
Yes.
in.
Well, the
But-
boat's in a covered slip. That's the other thing weird about this last lightning strike. I mean, we've got a big metal roof over the boat. And,
Well, could that played a factor though? Metal roof
typically that would
dissipate.
Yeah, that typically
It'd be
you
like
would-
a massive grounding
you would
setup,
think.
wouldn't it?
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
If
man.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, out of everybody who got whacked in your marina, was there one person that got hit the hardest out of everybody, or was
Yeah.
it?
So we have some friends that have two boats,
Yeah.
and both of their boats got affected. One they live on, the other one they call their office.
Okay.
And so
the office took a bigger hit than the home, or
but mostly low voltage stuff. It took out his battery charger.
okay, no explosions though.
No explosions.
Yeah.
Both of them are diesel boats, which is good. But yeah, it took out his charger and several lights on the boat they live on, and then
Yeah.
the boat next to them, it took out. I think he said it was radar and some lights. So
Yeah. But everybody feels. Do they feel fortunate that they got through this? And
Yeah.
no one got hurt. Nothing blew up.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, that
Or are they like son of a,
well, yeah. Well, they are.
that
certainly
was
saying
first.
That. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's
Well,
lots of customers.
Well, they're
flying around.
boaters.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta
Lots of
be a little
customers.
salty at least initially when it
Yeah.
happens, and
Yeah.
I'm still kicking, and then you're like, golly, this doesn't work. Ah. Yeah. Well, at least I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I guess there's that.
I didn't
right?
exactly say that when I powered everything up and
Yeah.
found the gremlins. I said a few other things,
Yeah.
but which I can't say right now.
Yes, if we want to stay on the air for next week.
Yes.
Absolutely. And yeah, we've been warned that Barry the Boater might be back. So
okay.
So I bet we better plan accordingly there,
Yes.
Mike. Well, thank you and the Admiral for helping out today. Till next week, remember, whether it is sail or motor,
Life is better as a boater.
safe boating, everyone.
Come back here, you barnacle-bitten swab!
World of Boating is brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
Any of this getting through to you, son?
World of Boating is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Computer standing by.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past shows worldwide over the internet at worldofboating.com.
Computers can do that?
So tell a friend and come aboard every week for the World of Boating.
This is so great. I can't wait. I'm getting goosebumps. Feel me. Feel me.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The opinions you just heard on the World of Boating are those of the hosts, callers, and guests. They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
What are you being such a weenie for?
While on the water, your safety and the safety of many others depends on you. So boat smart and operate your vessel only after receiving the proper training and instruction for your area.
There is a fine line between genius and madness.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at worldofboating.com.